Welcome back. Well, Cash Paymaster Services, or CPS's contract with the South African Social Security Agency, better known as Sassa, is coming to an end. Many grant recipients are still reliant on the cash grant method. Early this month, Sassa said there were no major challenges experienced in August in payments to beneficiaries as compared to July. Now, this as it briefed Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Social Development on the progress made on the implementation of the Constitutional Court judgment in March to allow CPS to continue distributing social grants for another 6 months to beneficiaries who receive their grants in cash. Well, for more on this, we're very pleased to be joined in studio by Social Development Minister Susan Shabangu. Ma, thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday. Welcome.
Thank you, Alicia.
Ma, look, I suppose the issue is, have the challenges around the migration to the new system finally been addressed now?
Well, I must say that we are on migration, which is a transition period, and we've done a lot to ensure that we meet the constitutional decision. And I'm happy that where we are, we will be able to deliver as per the expectation of the court come end of September, beginning of October. I must say we've had many challenges, big time. The transition to the post office was not an easy one. So, but then what we've done, we're working closely with the post office. We're signing various MOUs in making sure that the relationship between state and state entity, it's done in a smooth way. It's not an easy space, I must say. We have many challenges. We have a lot of resistance. We also have resistance inside ourselves. But the key is about making sure that we uphold the law. There's a decision by the highest court of the land. We have to deliver. And I'm aware that it's not an easy one. We're in transition. But where we are now, I'm happy that we have managed to migrate 5 million plus into the post office. The post office does not have all the necessary facilities, but we are going to work together. Hence, we are saying not all the pay points, major pay points on cash payment will continue to make sure that we meet the needs of our people.
You know, Ma, I like that you mentioned resistance there, because there was a report that actually CPS was a detractor to this migration of the social grants beneficiaries. Talk to us about that. Has that been proven at the state?
Well, I have. Not even hearing from other people, I've experienced that myself, where there's been a lot of resistance, but also CPS people getting into the point, trying to recruit people on the green card. And some, I mean, Everton, at the beginning of the month, I went there, elderly people crying, literally crying. They're unable to get their money and being told, you must leave this Sassa thing of yours, we told you a long time ago. Go and get a green card from Cambridge around Vrenaging or Everton. So these are some of the obstacles. Whilst CPS is aware that it's not us, it's the court decision, but also it's the behavior where you find beneficiaries are not getting all their monies. There's also the issue of loans given to elderly people. So all those matters are clearly intending to retract us from the actual focus. But I've said to the staff and those who are willing, we need to make sure this time we don't fail our people, we don't fail our country, but also we respect the law of our country. Because if we're unable to do that, then it means, why should we create as government institutions and ourselves undermine them? So there's big resistance. Last week I was in Beaconsfield. I found again the green card being promoted in Beaconsfield. And people were complaining and saying, they said it's a bank. They must take that. So you find individuals and creating a lot of confusion so as to confuse our beneficiaries. But I am confident that we are on the right track.
You know, Ma, while you speak of that, I actually had Pasega, the spokesperson for Sassa, here. I think it was round about the time when the scandal broke that beneficiaries couldn't be paid. And we had this very same discussion that there were groups posing as Sassa agents and officials actually undertaking meetings with beneficiaries under the guise that they were from the Social Development Agency and to talk to them about grants. But how are you going to put a stop to this? Because your 6 months is almost over now for CPS.
Well, we also taking this matter through the courts to make sure that we challenge that. And I must say that we're not going to leave anything unattended. We'll make sure that those who undermine us and undermine our constitution and insist on imposing what our people don't like.
Criminal charges, ma'am?
Exactly, that's what we're going to do. If they continue this way, people will have to face the consequences, including those who are doing it inside. I must share with you that...
Talk to us about the inside resistance.
Well, there's a lot of resistance. I'm not going to go to it.
Well, don't go into further details.
But what we are going to do to make sure that we deal with the matter, we're going to go for a forensic investigation, because I'm told it's not the first time. There was some investigation at some point. Don't ask me about the results of that. But what we are saying now is that we can no longer allow this country to be seen as a corrupt country, especially at the expense of the vulnerable. If they were doing to other people, maybe that would be fine. But they can't do this
to the most needy.
Most needy. Elderly people, you see them crying. I met an old man of 101. They said his money is there, but he couldn't get it. We had to take him to another pay point, and he got the money. We had an old lady. They said it can't get the money. He went in, he got his money, but what she got, it's 1,500. When we look at the money, and she said, no, I've been getting this money. So what has been happening? Because we've long passed 1.5.
Yeah.
We are now at 1.690.
Yeah.
So it means the old lady appreciates that she's been paid, even if she's been cheated. You know, that, and how many of those elderly people who faces this particular thing? And I think it's important for us to really say to our people, please help us in making sure that the elderly people are treated with dignity. And that's why what you are doing at Sassa now, where is an open space, the grounds where they've been getting money, we're giving them chairs, where possible a tent, so that they can be protected.
Accommodating them.
We bring ablutions, because I went to Klerksdorp in Jibaton. I couldn't believe it. A small hall with a long queue, no bathrooms, no water. So whilst I was there, 2 elderly people collapsed. So how many of these go through this for the past years and no one cared for them?
Absolutely.
So our intention is to bring back the dignity of our people. I'm aware that there's big resistance. I'm aware that there are external forces who are really trying to make sure we don't become successful. But through the government and the IMC Interministerial Committee, we are determined that we ensure that we bring dignity to our people.
You know, Ma, you took over a very troubled social development agency. I mean, maybe talk to us about how far you are in correcting some of the wrongs that you've actually found within the department. We've heard you talk about resistance. We've heard you talk about the campaign that you're going to be engaging in to ensure that some of the things that have been happening unabated, they're going to stop.
Well, some of the measures which I found when I came in, they were going to employ, because they haven't been employing for a very, very long time. But you come in, you are dumped with a shortlisting. You don't know what is this, you don't understand. Hence, I had to say, no, we have to stop and allow me space to understand what is going on and make sure that when we employ people who are competent, but people who will take us forward.
Yeah.
And when I did that, some people were not happy. I think that's why there's part of resistance.
Yeah.
So the next process is to make sure that we also do skills audits in making sure that we get the right people who are competent enough. So I am determined to make sure that Sassa become an institution which has credibility as per or as it is required, but also serve the people, especially the vulnerable, with dignity.
Absolutely. You know, Ma, some of the other issues that were synonymous or associated with the CPS system was, of course, and I also spoke to Basega, the spokesperson, about this. We're talking about the illegal debits of the policies and so forth. Have you now ensured that this new system, there's not going to be any leeway for those fraudsters to get access to the money that these people, beneficiaries need?
In terms of Section 26 regulation, no, not section, Regulation 26, they can only deduct only 10% of the pensioners' money. But that too, it's only Bomasngwabane.
Okay.
You know, our old people have burial schemes.
Yes.
That's the only thing which will be allowed. Outside of that,
so that's going to be regulated.
it's regulated already. But the other thing,
Ma, are you able to give us the names of those people that you actually have allowed to debit or have a relationship with your beneficiaries to a point where they can actually debit from their Sassa
well,
cards?
what they need to do is to make sure that they get forms from those people, as long as it is not more than 160 rand, which is 10%, which is 10%, they've got to give consent. They have to make sure that it's their funeral schemes. With, you know, some have these funeral schemes for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So they vary. That is why they must get the consent of the beneficiary. But also what I want to highlight, the funeral scheme, we don't allow child grant to make deductions. We don't allow that. That money is meant to grow and nurture the kids. So it's not meant for my hair and all other things and nails and all those kind of things. It's for the child to be nurtured and nourished, by shoes for the school and all those things. So these are some of the things which were happening irregularly. And as we move forward, we are indeed going to review Sassa as a whole, especially the Sassa Act, in ensuring that it can be an institution which is credible, which can take South Africa forward, but also bring dignity to the most vulnerable, which is our elderly people.
Ma, how are you going to deal with issues like what you've just mentioned now? We've heard stories of people that actually even take children that don't even belong to them and go to Sassa and apply for these foster grants and so forth. How are you going to deal with that? Because you can't really determine if a person is bringing their child, and particularly if it's a foster child, they're not going to probably have an ID to say this child is formally adopted by this individual.
Well, it's very interesting. One of the things which we're going to do moving forward, we're going to work with the Department of Home Affairs. As you know, that they've introduced ABIS, automated biometric system. We're going to link to the population register, which will be able to reflect whose child is this, when was this child born, and clearly identify, because there are various marks which can identify a child right from birth. So that will minimize and make sure that the fraudulent which is happening right now come to an end. But the other one which is interesting, I've just come in at Sassa. I was a beneficiary too. I was told by the security system at the post office to say, Minister, you were one of the beneficiaries.
What?
I'm telling you.
And
that's
how did you deal
fraudulent.
with that, Ma?
We have, that is why we've got to do skills audit, we've got to do forensic investigation, look at our systems.
Is this before or after you were actually moved to the Social Development
when
Agency?
I was there.
You actually became a grant beneficiary.
Exactly, exactly. So that's how desperate people are. I mean, how could I be a beneficiary when I'm earning a salary every month? You know?
Very interesting news you come with, Ma. Maybe let's wrap this discussion up by talking about communication between yourselves and the beneficiaries. Because it seems like this is where the fraudsters actually take advantage and hold their own separate meetings, because they know you're going to be holding meetings in a certain area. But how are you communicating directly to your beneficiaries to ensure that the information they're receiving is indeed from you?
Well, I've been visiting different pay points myself, but I've also asked my staff in different areas. Last week I was in Bakersford, really trying to make sure that we reach out personally, whilst we talk to them through the media, but also we go there personally to understand the nature of the problems, the nature of the challenges which we are facing. And I must say we're making a breakthrough. Just I want to say, we started in mid-June, around about 14, 15, to move people on a cut swap to SAPO.
Yeah.
I am happy that we have, between that and now, we have over 5 million people whom we have moved over. But also the glitches we had, we've brought in all the networks, the systems, telecom, MTN and all those to make sure.
So it's all automated now?
It's all automated, but also we're not going to have the same glitches. We are in transition. There might be challenges, but we will deal with those challenges as they come. What is unacceptable for us? It's fraud. Fraud, we're not going to tolerate that. We'll open cases. That is why we're going to do forensics to make sure if the culprits are inside, we can know them and charge them.
Ma, talk to us about now, this is a big issue, and we started discussing this. I should have followed up on this at that time. The green versus the Sassa card, which one is currently legal at this stage? Please tell the beneficiaries at home.
Well, I want to say, as per the Constitution's decision, we had to stop our relationship with CPS. And CPS came to us with the Sassa old card, which is grayish, but also CPS also included the green card. Those are the two cards which are illegal because they came through the contract we had with them. What we have now, it's the yellow card, which is a visa, which will make sure that there are no deductions from people. We're discussing that. We're making sure that nothing can be deducted from them except for burial society. So that's what they need to know. How many times they withdraw, it's up to them. Even when they come next month and they didn't take their money, because that's what has been happening, they will get their money. The reports I heard is that if you didn't get your money this month, you come next month, you forfeit. You go from pillar to post, no one was able to help you. And we know when the money comes, it used to go straight to Green Road for being able to disperse to our beneficiaries. But not only that, some people were saying they were getting 600 rand instead of the total amount. So this thing has been going on for a very, very long time. I must also thank the Black Sash for coming on board and all those civil society organizations.
Bringing up these issues.
Issues and making sure that the beneficiaries are able to be treated with dignity, but they get their own money.
And just maybe other things that were still outstanding. It's been widely reported that some challenges with the post office when they take over in far-flung rural areas, there might not be actual outlets. Is this going to be done before the end of the 6 months?
Well, what we are doing is that we are very much alive to the post office not being ready. You know, post offices at some point, well, like have collapsed completely. So we are reviving the post offices. Hence, we are keeping the cash pay points to give a support and a balance to the post offices, whilst they're busy with upgrading and ensuring that they have the right post offices which will be modern and meet the needs of our people. And we're also not looking at a post office which will just be paying. We're looking at a post office which can offer services to everybody, including young people through internet cafe, Wi-Fi, and every other thing which they can provide as a post office.
All right. Now, Ma, let me have you on record confirming on camera that beneficiaries come the end of the month, they will receive their grants.
I want to assure all our beneficiaries, come beginning of September, they are going to get their monies. We'll make sure, even if there are challenges, we'll attend to those challenges, but their money, we want them to get their money as is, no more deductions. That's why we are maintaining the court decision to cut our ties with CPS.
And Ma, I think in my interview with Pasega also, I think I probed him on whether or not you've set up a hotline or a toll-free line where if your beneficiaries have any issues, they can contact you directly. How's that going along?
Well, it's going quite well. And I think it's over and above visiting the pay points, the swapping areas. I mean, the halls were full. We are hoping that, for instance, in one of the provinces, Western Cape, will be 100% as we pay out this month. So we've got areas or regions where we'll be able to pay out 100%. The outstanding one come the 1st of October, submitting our last report this month. We are confident that the court will realize within this shorter space of time, we have been able to meet their obligation. Will not be over. We're not saying that's it, it's complete, but the first phase, that's it. And then the future, it's about going to the post office fully to modernize post offices.
You know, Ma, when you launch those criminal charges, can I please be the first that you come and talk to about, because we started it here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma. That is the Minister of Social Development, the Honorable Susan Shabangu, ironing out some issues that are related, of course, with the migration from CPS to the post office in terms of grant recipients.